The Galactic Academy's xenobiology laboratory fell silent as Instructor Vexithor raised one of his 6 chitinous arms. The massive Krylek towered over his diverse class of cadets, his compound eyes gleaming with what passed for satisfaction among his species today. Vexithor announced, his translator rendering his clicks and hisses into sterile common. We study the most dangerous toxins in the known galaxy. One miscalculation with these specimens could end any of your lives in moments. 23 cadets from 17 species shifted nervously in their adaptive seating. All except Ariel Chen leaned back in her chair, auburn hair pulled into a practical ponytail, dark eyes tracking the instructor's movements with casual interest. Beside her, Arthur Davidson was already pulling up supplementary data on his tablet, his broad shoulders hunched as he scrolled through chemical compositions. They were the only humans in advanced xenobiology, and they'd learned to ignore the stares. Vexithor activated the containment field, revealing a small amphibian creature with skin that shifted through bioluminescent patterns. Behold the dendros fatal from Kepler-4 to be. Its dermal secretions contain tetrodotoxin at concentrations lethal to 94% of registered sapient species, the class murmured appreciatively. The small frog-like being pulsed with threatening colors. Tetrodotoxin? Ariel whispered to Arthur. Isn't that pufferfish? Arthur confirmed quietly, not looking up from his tablet. And several earth newts, about 1,000 to 100 times more toxic than cyanide. Ariel bit back a smile. Vexithor continued his lecture, moving to the next specimen, a crystalline scorpion analog that produced neurotoxic compounds, then a plant that exhaled cyanogenic vapors. Each revelation prompted gasps and horrified chittering from the assembled students. The instructor was clearly building toward something, his movements becoming more theatrical. Finally, he gestured to the laboratory's primary containment unit, a reinforced chamber that hummed with multiple redundant force fields. And now, Vexithor proclaimed, the deadliest specimen in our collection. Approach with respect, cadets. What you are about to see has been responsible for the deaths of over 4,000 beings. Across 12 star systems, the containment field shimmered, revealing a serpentine creature, perhaps a meter long, its scales iridescent black and crimson. It coiled around an artificial branch, tongue flicking out to taste the air. The Zathru death serpent, Vexithor intoned. Native to the high-gravity death world of Zathru Prime, its venom is a cocktail of hemotoxins, neurotoxins, and myotoxins. A single bite delivers enough toxin to kill a fully grown Krylek warrior in less than 2 minutes. There is no antivenom. There is no treatment. There is only death. The class recoiled. Even the usually stoic Matherian cadets seemed disturbed. That's when Ariel laughed. It wasn't loud, just a short, involuntary snort of amusement, but in the horrified silence of the laboratory, it rang out like a gunshot. Every eye turned toward her. Vexithor froze, his compound eyes fixing on the human female with an intensity that had made senior officers uncomfortable. You find this amusing, Cadet Chen? The instructor's translator failed to mask his disbelief. Ariel's eyes widened as she realized her mistake. Beside her, Arthur closed his eyes and slowly shook his head. I apologize, Instructor, Ariel said quickly. I meant no disrespect to the specimen, or explain yourself. Vexithor's tone could have cut steel. Ariel glanced at Arthur, who gave her a helpless shrug. The other students watched with the fascinated horror of those witnessing a cadet's career implode in real time. It's just, Ariel began carefully. You call that venom? The temperature in the room seemed to drop several degrees. That venom, Vexithor said slowly, each word precisely enunciated, has ended thousands of lives. It is considered the most lethal naturally occurring toxin in known space. Perhaps you would like to elaborate on what you find inadequate about it. Ariel took a breath. She'd already stepped in it. Might as well commit, Instructor. The Zathru death serpent's venom is certainly dangerous to most species. But on Earth, we have the inland typon. Its venom is roughly 50 times more toxic than this serpent's, drop for drop. One bite contains enough toxin to kill 100 adult humans or about 250,000 mice. If we're measuring LD50, the classroom erupted in disbelieving chatter. Vexithor's translator unit made a sound it had never made before, something between a choke And a glitch? Arthur decided to help, pulling up data on his tablet. She's right, sir. And that's not even considering the box jellyfish, which can kill a human in under 5 minutes. Or the cone snail, whose venom contains over 100 different toxins. Or the stonefish. Or the blue-ringed octopus. Or the Brazilian wandering spider. Or enough. Vexither's translator finally caught up with his clicking mandibles. You're telling me your world has multiple organisms more venomous than the galaxy's deadliest specimen? Oh, dozens, Ariel confirmed. And that's just the venomous ones. We haven't even mentioned the poisonous species. The poison dart frogs alone. Your planet is classified as a Class 7 death world, interrupted Tlora, a Centaurian cadet whose scales had gone pale. That classification is for worlds with environmental hazards, not— Yeah, about that, Arthur said, warming to the topic. Instructor Vexither, what classification does a planet receive when over 60% of its fauna produces toxins? As a survival strategy? The Krylic instructor was silent for a long moment, his compound eyes shifting through several colors. That his species associated with deep cognitive dissonance, that such a world would be classified as uninhabitable, he finally managed. No sapient species could possibly evolve in an environment so saturated with lethal organisms. Ariel and Arthur exchanged glances. Should we tell him about Australia? Arthur asked. Australia? Vexither's translator made that strangled sound again. It's a continent on Earth, Ariel explained. It has 21 of the world's 25 most venomous snakes, plus venomous spiders, jellyfish, octopi, snails, fish, platypuses. Platypuses are venomous? Squeaked a small Pilarian from the back row. The males have venomous spurs, Arthur confirmed. And before you ask, yes, humans live there. About 26 million of us, actually. Vexither slowly turned back to his prized specimen, the Zathru death serpent that had been the crown jewel of the xenobiology collection. It suddenly seemed less impressive coiled on its branch. How? He asked quietly. Do your people survive? Ariel shrugged. We learned. We adapted. We created antivenoms for most species. And honestly, after a few million years of evolution alongside these creatures, we've built up some pretty decent natural resistance to a lot of common toxins. Natural resistance, Vexither repeated flatly. Well, not complete immunity or anything, Arthur added. But yeah, what would kill most species in minutes might give us a few hours. Long enough to get to medical treatment, usually, the instructor echoed. A long silence stretched across the laboratory. The other cadets looked at the two humans with a mixture of horror and newfound respect. Finally, Vexither composed himself, his translator producing a sound that might have been a sigh. Cadet Chen, Cadet Davidson, I believe I need to file a request to have Earth's classification upgraded. Again. They just bumped us from Class 7 to Class 8 last cycle, Ariel pointed out. Yes, Vexither said grimly. And apparently that is still insufficient. Your planet is a nightmare, and your species' casual attitude toward lethal toxins is somehow more disturbing than the toxins themselves, Arthur grinned. Wait until you hear about our food preservation techniques. I beg your pardon. We intentionally cultivate certain bacteria and fungi to colonize our food, Ariel explained cheerfully. Cheese, yogurt, fermented vegetables, aged meats, enough. Vexither's translator unit sparked. Class dismissed. I need to reassess my entire curriculum, as the other students fled the laboratory. Casting nervous glances at the humans, Ariel and Arthur packed up their tablets. You think we broke him? Arthur asked. Probably, Ariel admitted. Should we have mentioned the poison resistance thing? What? How humans actively consume capsaicin for pleasure even though it's literally a defensive neurotoxin. Or how we've been slowly building up arsenic tolerance by eating apple seeds and drinking well water? They looked at each other and simultaneously said, nah, as they left the laboratory. They could hear Vexither muttering to himself while staring at his prized specimens, with what could only be described as existential dread. Behind them, the Zathru death serpent, the most feared creature in the known galaxy, seemed almost cute coiled on its branch. For humans, it was just another Wednesday at the academy.